Hello, everybody. My name is Jacqueline Ferrari, and my presentation was about sustainability. To get started, we have to know what sustainability is. In its simplest terms, sustainability is about meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability for future generations to meet their own needs, according to the United Nations. To break this down even further, sustainability, in my opinion, is setting standards today to create the chance to still have a possible positive future. It's about balance and maintenance of our planet's ecosystems to be able to create a high quality life, not only in the short term, but thinking of a long-term solution. UCLA describes it as the integration of environmental health, social equity, and economic vitality in order to create thriving, healthy, diverse, and resilient communities for this generation and generations to come. Sustainability can be broken down into 4 key pillars, each focusing on a different aspect of preserving our Earth for future generations, while still improving and balancing our current quality of life. The following are the 4 pillars, or as I will refer to them, aspects, because they are each a piece of the pie, which is sustainability. These pillars are interconnected, and we need to address each one equally to create a livable future. I'm going to start with the social aspect. Social sustainability is about strengthening communities and cultivating social equity. For anyone currently asking themselves or Googling what social equity is, I'll help you out. It is the idea that all people should have equal access to opportunities and outcomes, meaning that fairness, justice, and impartiality should be applied to all people in any kind of social policy. This is all to ensure that everyone has access to things like education, healthcare, and human rights. Social sustainability is the framework needed to create and innovate laws and accessibility to basic human rights that would be provided. A prime example of this would be Finland's education system, which provides equal access to quality education for all, regardless of income, race, or class, making it one of the most equitable systems in the world. However, global inequality still prominently remains an issue. The World Inequality Report shows that the richest 10% hold 76% of global wealth, indicating that there's still a very steep hill to climb to create a more equitable society. Moving on to the economic aspect, which focuses on maintaining a steady economic growth but still using resources responsibly and efficiently without abusing of what the earth provides us. It also supports local economies and renewable business practices to minimize wealth disparities and the vast income gaps. Our global economy needs to focus on fair trade and ethical labor practices. A great example is the rise of the circular economy. Simply put, a circular economy is investing in quality items and reusing, recycling, mending, or refurbishing said items to use them for a long time or pass them off to others to do the same, instead of throwing them away and condemning items to landfills. The best examples I have for this would be, 1, for any of my TikTok folk, I don't know how many of you have stumbled upon the underconsumption core trend, but it basically displays people going around and showing the items they have used for years and years for things that others may think have an easier, cheaper, and disposable counterpart. Secondly, would be companies like IKEA, who are adopting recycling and upcycling past models to reduce waste and material costs. According to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, this circular economy model could save $700 billion annually by 2040, showing how economic sustainability can benefit both businesses and the planet. Shifting focus to the environmental aspect and how it aims to protect our Earth's natural resources and biodiversity, which is the variety and variability of all the life on Earth. Environmental sustainability is about making efforts to reduce our carbon footprints, our contributions to avoidable pollution, and our greedy need to take away from the earth through things like deforestation. This is all in efforts to conserve ecosystems for future generations. We have already lost vast amounts of species to date, and if this aspect isn't taken seriously, it will only get worse. Take Costa Rica, for example. They are making significant strides in becoming carbon neutral by 2050 through renewable energy and forest conservation. This is only one country out of 195. The Global Footprint Network states that we are using resources equivalent to 1.75 Earths every year. Now let's talk about the human aspect of sustainability. Last but certainly not least, it used to be considered part of social sustainability until we continue to realize the importance of our human cultural impact on sustainability. This focuses on human well-being by ensuring access to critical resources like clean water, food, and energy, while still encouraging a human connection and community. It's about equitable distribution of opportunities and improving quality of life. It is also about preserving culture and making them strong enough to reach into and influence future generations. Businesses must also recognize the value of human capital, as we are those who produce, use, or are impacted by their products and services. For instance, access to clean drinking water remains a challenge in various parts of sub-Saharan Africa, where 400 million people still lack clean water. Globally, 2.2 billion people lack access to safely managed drinking water services. This is only a small example of the importance of human sustainability. Our planet's resources are made up of finite and renewable sources, but we have to know that things are only renewable when they are being allowed to be replenished. Unfortunately, at this rate we are consuming resources both finite and renewable at too high of a rate, endangering future generations, which makes sustainable management crucial. In my personal opinion and from my research, we need to shift towards a circular economy where we reduce, reuse, and recycle materials to minimize waste, as stated previously. Efficient resource use supports the well-being of our ecosystems, long-term economic growth, and social welfare. Sweden has one of the most advanced waste management systems, recycling or converting about 99% of household waste into energy. If our current trends continue, global resource extraction will increase by 119% by 2050, putting immense strain and pressure on all of the Earth's ecosystems. Agriculture is essential for human survival, but it is also one of the biggest contributors to environmental degradation. Sustainable agriculture practices like crop rotation, agroforestry, and precision farming are just a few examples of new practices aimed to help maintain soil health and conserve water. Meanwhile, something positive like how the Netherlands has revolutionized agriculture with high-tech greenhouses that use 90% less water, allowing the country to become the world's second largest food exporter, which has paved the way for new agricultural methods. With 25% of global land already degraded, it's blatantly clear that sustainable farming is crucial for feeding the growing global population without destroying our Earth. As the global population grows, the demands for resources like food, water, and energy only increase, and the strain on the planet grows along with it. Urbanization, which is making an area more urban, like making farmland into a city, is an interesting thing to look at because it both has major pros as well as cons. On one hand, it can make resource use way more efficient and it can theoretically ration out resources more effectively. But on the other hand, it also brings challenges like how it often results in deforestation, habitat loss, and the extraction of fresh water from the environment, which can decrease biodiversity and have devastating changes for local species. Copenhagen is a great example of sustainable urban development. The city has an extensive cycling infrastructure with large green spaces and a plan to become carbon neutral by 2025. With almost 2/3 of the global population expected to live in and around urban areas by 2050, sustainable urban planning will be key in managing population growth. Lastly, biodiversity might alone be one of the most crucial for maintaining healthy ecosystems. Biodiverse ecosystems provide essential services like pollination, water purification, and climate regulation. Think of a terrarium. Only a few components, but when left alone correctly, it can outlive any one of us, simply by working the way it was intended to. without manipulation. However, biodiversity is under threat from many things like habitat destruction, climate change, and overexploitation. Coral reefs, for example, support 25% of marine life, but are being destroyed by climate change and pollution. Projects like those in the Great Barrier Reef are working to restore damaged ecosystems. Since the 1970s, wildlife populations have declined by 68%, which truly sounds the alarms of just how urgent it is to protect biodiversity for our future generations. Sustainability touches every aspect of our lives: social, economic, environmental, and human. By focusing on responsible resource use, sustainable agriculture, population management, and biodiversity preservation, we can begin to live sustainably, trying to ensure a thriving planet for our future generations. Thank you for all your time and attention, and here are all my sources.